All right. Well, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for having us. My name is Jeremy Viscomi, and this is my colleague, Basha Bhattacharya, and we represent EmPact Artificial Intelligence. We're seeking a $570,000 investment today for seed capital for a 5% equity stake in our company, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about what you're going to get with that money. So imagine you run a pipeline operation and you run the maintenance and repairs for a pipeline operation in Southern California. And it's not just Southern California, it's about a quarter mile off the beach under multi-million-dollar homes and ranches. And you figure out that there might be a problem. Well, what do? Well, traditional technology says that you probably run a pigging operation and you would kind of find out where that problem is, dig up that pipeline, and you're gonna go ahead and repair it. Now, that represents all sorts of problems to landowners, surface animals, and environment, as well as just gets really, really, really costly. So what if there was a solution? What if you could contact EmPact AI with the same suspicions, the same complicated environment, and 24 hours after you contact us, we deploy a drone system that runs the entire length of the pipeline. 24 hours after that, we have data that is as good or better than the pigging data that you would have had normally. And then we allow you to make targeted intervention with little impact to the environment, the landowners, the animals, anything that's in the way. That's what we do. We take the underground out of underground operations. How does it work? Well, just like an MRI helps you find that space where you need to cut for an operation, our system works exactly the same way. Our drone technology allows you to find the spot in the pipeline, not miles of pipeline or segments of pipeline, but that spot. Here's how it works. You give us a call, the drones fly out. Goes to our proprietary software, we run it through in a very quick amount of time. You target and fix the problem for a fraction of the price and a fraction of the time. Let's take a look at some real results. What you see on top, right up here, is off-the-shelf technology. This is available through drone providers anywhere you want to go. But as you can see, you're kind of at the mercy of your analyst right here. We see some hot spots. We know this might be a pipeline, but we're not really sure. This is 1,000 points of data. By way of comparison, we're looking at running 100,000 points of data. Now below is that exact same 1,000 points of data with EmPact AI solution. As you can see, we can see that pipeline. We can see some curvature. Even these red spots right here, that's the electromagnetic sensors reflecting off the iron. We can see some decomposition. Again, with a goal of making targeted intervention and saving time and money. We're already working with some of the leading drone operators in the country, as well as some of the leading geoscientists who have endorsed, and we're actively working with them on a case study in California right now. We have a go-to-market strategy, but let's get to the nuts and bolts of the dollars. I'm going to turn it over to my friend Basha, who's going to take it from there.
Thank you, Jeremy. So let's talk about the market. So today, the pipeline inspection market is about $600 million worldwide. It's growing at 5% rate. It's expected to reach about $1 billion by 2030. Okay. So over here, what you have is what we think our global share of the global market would be. It is steep. It is going from 0.05% to about 7%, but we think it is possible because our product has huge cost advantages over the current technology. So current technology to do 1 mile of pigging takes about 35 grand per mile. Our technology with our huge margins is about 7 grand a month. So with that market share, we are expecting about a $60 million revenue.
1 minute.
So the financials, we have 63 million. Our margin is expected at 70%. We are plowing back about 40% back to our sales expenses. So net profit comes to about $3 billion. With that, the valuation, we have valued our company as 12 million. So our investment request, Sharks, is about 570 grand. 400 grand of that will directly go to R&D. About 140 grand is marketing, and 30 grand for pigging. This is our team. We have Shavik and Mark sitting here. Myself and Jeremy, we bring all expertise into the company. So that said, we're ready for your questions.
All right, now moving to the Sharks.
First off, nice work, guys. Thanks for the overview and well done. A handful of questions. One, do you guys will you own the drones? Do you own the proprietary equipment? Can you fly beyond line of sight? How have you thought about the actual drone service piece of it?
So we exclusively right now partner with drone companies, so we outsource that. So our product is the algorithm and the analysis. And so where we're headed is we're developing a software as a service software that will take the drone data wherever you acquire it from and bring it back to the software. You can analyze it, and kind of the joke about EmPact is we want to empower those operators to be able to analyze that, train them up so they can do that themselves. Right now we do it individually, so we have our team is actively doing it, but we want to provide a SaaS service, so that's what we do.
Got it. So the customer would engage a third-party drone operator that would then have the appropriate equipment, or do you guys contract that third-party group?
We can contract that out. So we contract that out, and so our drone operators and so we've partnered with one in particular, and then we have others that we can partner with. And so it's basically we need the right drones with the magnetic and electromagnetic sensors equipped to do that.
Got it. And so the EM sensor, who owns that?
So that's going to be the drone company themselves.
So do you
yes.
have to ask the drone company to buy these sensors?
I think that's part of the deal. The drone company that we've partnered with, they have those already. They're already equipped. And so that first part that you saw, and that was just a magnetic, the off the shelf, that was just a magnetic sensor that was actively run by the drone companies. The one that we're working on in California, they have it already equipped. They're actively running it and selling that kind of red data. And then what we bring to the table is that finite. So.
Got it. So the data capture and the measurement tools are in place today. So there's not new hardware required.
No, nothing new. Yeah, it's existing technology.
Actually, that is one of the advantages. We don't require any new hardware. It is already there in the service. The difference is we're taking that upper picture to the below picture.
Right.
Again, great presentation, guys. In terms of tech differentiation, the offering is a software solution. How are you differentiating yourself? There are some other solutions out in the market as well, who are again hardware agnostic but focus more on the software side. What is your differentiation? What is your moat? If you don't mind speaking a little bit on that.
I think it's going to be accuracy and speed. To be honest with you, it's what we do is, there's very few people in the world that have an understanding of the geoscience, the sensors, and the algorithm. And then we have maximized our algorithm. We're using Azure servers we've kind of souped up a little bit with some additional means. And it's our speed is what really brings the value. So the issue is a typical picking operation or even a drone operation, you've got time delays. And so we want to get out there, get that data turned around. And eventually, we think with the R&D, we could get to a moment where we can do live analysis where it's running around. So speed and accuracy.
And then, just talking about the speed part. Today, if you do a picking operation, you get this magnetic data, then a geoscientist sits on it, geophysicist, and it takes about 3 days, 5 days, maybe sometimes 2-3 weeks, depending on the length of the pipeline. We think with our stuff and where we are going, we should be able to give it in 24 hours. So that is our AI algorithm, because we're right now training our AI algorithm. And the more data we train, the faster it would be. Yeah. The results would be as fast.
Go ahead, please. Or whoever.
So I'm not very clear where the differentiation is coming from. Are you taking more samples from the same sensor, or are you processing more? How do you move from what looks like a low resolution to a high resolution?
So the differentiation is actually twofold. One is we have a proprietary algorithm, which kind of gives. So think about it, right? So it kind of makes a mesh of data saying that, hey, if iron is reflecting this this particular magnetic ping, it looks like this. This is the data that you get. If it is copper, this is the data. And if the pipeline is so much thick, this is the data. So we have that mesh. So that is our proprietary. And then we train AI based on that. And then the AI is what we use. So it's kind of trying to interpolate.
So you're not taking more data. It's exactly the same data.
Right.
You think you have a better interpretation of the same data.
So both the things are very important. One is to have that mesh of data that we've already created to say that, hey, iron looks like this, copper looks like this. So that's a big one. And then training our AI set based on the data. So.
All right, Sharks, we have about 5 minutes.
Great presentation, guys. My question, so there was a slide focused on market share. So tell me 10, 15-year plan after you gain market share in the pipeline inspection market?
Okay.
Do you have plans to expand to other industries? Like, what are you thinking?
Yeah, so what we have shown is very conservative. Why? Because what we have shown is only the pipeline industry market, which is what you showed about $1 billion by 2030. Now, there is a whole market of just subsurface engineering, just to figure out what is beneath the surface, and that is another $1 billion market used in construction industry. Anything you construct roads or any big buildings, they got to figure out what utility lies underneath. So that's another big market there. Today, some operators are doing this, but not with this kind of accuracy, just to figure out what it is. So that is one big market we want to target. The other big market, that is agriculture. That is a $7 billion. Actually, if you look at our timeline, we say that we require a little bit more work on the agriculture. So we want to get, and that's what the money is for. By 2022, we want to get to the agriculture testing piece. That is a $7 billion market, hugely growing. A lot of Gates Foundation, a lot of people are going into that field. Very new market. So we think our valuation is very low. I mean, we cut off all the stuff. When we valued everything else, we valued ourselves at close to like $30-40 million, just because we just cut off those. We just wanted to present a very conservative picture right now.
Are you pre-revenue currently as it stands? I saw 2021 is 0.05. Is that a
Yeah, so we are working with a drone company to do on California. After that, we think we'll get some revenue projects.
So you're pre-revenue?
Correct.
Yeah.
Okay, got it. Who's going to be your first pilot or customer? I mean, you don't have to share the name, but end market and I mean, in terms of, do you know who the customers are? I mean, have you identified in terms of who are you doing the pilots with? Are
Yeah,
you
I mean,
allowed
I
to
think-
share? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I think we've got a couple different customer segments, right? And so one is drone companies themselves, right? Because one of the things with our current partnership and their competitive advantages, there's a lot, as you said, there's a lot of drone companies doing this right now. But what is their competitive advantage? AI-based software that can turn high-res results better than anybody else has is there. So that's one of our target markets. Of course, over time, most of us in the group are from the energy space, and so we want to leverage our networks with companies that are in the business to make and maintain pipelines. And as we know, pipeline maintenance is key. It's a difficult thing to get new pipelines laid, so we have to make sure that those things are in place. To talk about market segments, it's the same philosophy, shifting gears slightly. There's multiple markets. We've looked at unexploded ordnance, for instance. There's a lot of space where you can develop land, but it's got old military spaces on it. If you can do that for an effective, small price, that's a potential market for us as well. But we want to focus with what we know energy.
So we're already working on drone geoscience here for the customer piece. We are talking to a major pipeline company as soon as August. So just to give you.
All right, Sharks, we have about 2 minutes left.
So how is your algorithm so much better? And said differently, I could see how it would be really good if you had a massive data set to start with, but like how are you training the algorithm? What data set are you using given you haven't flown many pipelines thus far?
I mean, we can go into a real deep dive on the algorithm. It's going to take a little bit of time. But the high level, as you said, the key ingredient is the mesh that we talked about that we created. That mesh is not easily available, so that is a piece. And then just our AI algorithm that we created. So it is a combination that makes the real thing, but the mesh is a critical soup into that.
Right.
Okay. Yeah. And then why do you guys think it's worth $12 million?
Just because, you see, if you go to a $3 million net profit by 2027, so it's about 5 times that, but if you do the math with IRR of 15%, it comes to about 12 million.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then why a fairly conservative 2022 revenue number?
2022, we want to invest in, as you see, the sales and the R&D. So that is where we want to keep investing. So that's why we're getting a net. I mean, we have a gross profit coming up. We are expecting a 350,000 in the revenue. We have a gross profit, but then we want to invest a lot in sales. So the money we are asking is part of that actually.
Right.
That it will go into
So
the sales expense and the R&D expense. So we want to hire some R&D guys because we want to make a SaaS. So we have the algorithm ready. We want to get into SaaS piece. We also want to hire a mathematician because we want to explore like agriculture and other things. So that is the math. That the thing that you are asking for is the math to take the mesh that we talked about, right?
Yeah.
So we had created this algorithm, but we want to hire at least a couple of guys to take it forward.
All right, I think we're right about time, Sharks. So appreciate. I know I cut you off, Hassam. I know that's well, you got to have a little pressure too. So all right. So what we're going to go ahead and do is we can go down the line. We can start Orion with you, and I think we'll go ahead and. Oh yeah. Sorry. Pause. Rewind. Thank you very much. All right. So I think we have our feedback. So we're going to go ahead and move on to our next startup.
Thanks, Sharks. Appreciate it.
So thank you, guys.